Hey, welcome back. This is the last of the Introduction to Beautiful Soup syntax videos, where we work with the dummy data, the string of HTML. After this video, we will be scraping for real. We'll be sending a request and getting real HTML from a real web page. But before then, we have to talk about navigating with Beautiful Soup. When I say navigating, it means having a tag and finding elements relative to that tag or that element. So if we have an li, I could ask Beautiful Soup to find me the parent of that li, or to find the parent of the parent, or to find the next sibling or the next descendant of the li. So it's a way of navigating, moving around in the HTML relative to something that you select. And I'll briefly just run through what we'll see in this video. So we'll see how to do it two ways. The first is to do it via the tags using attributes called parent, contents, and next sibling. Not methods, but actually using attributes. And then we'll see how to do it with searching, where there are methods, find parent and find next sibling is what we'll talk about, as well as find previous sibling. If you're still confused, I think it will make, I pray, it will make more sense in this example. So I have a third file, exactly the same starter code, and I've just cleared out what we had down here. So imagine that I select an element, any element, but let's start with the body. I select the body. So to do that, we have a couple of ways. The easiest way is just soup.body, but we could also do soup.findBody, but we'll do soup.body. So that selects this, the body, and everything inside of it. So to have access to the contents of that tag, we've seen how to get the inner text. Like if I select this h3, we saw how to extract hi. But when we have nested HTML, like we do with the body, how do we select the contents inside of it? And it's really straightforward. We just do soup.body.contents. So instead of tag, let's just call this data. It's such a terrible name, but let's just print data. And what we should see is everything inside the body. Okay? But the format that we get it in is as a list. So we have all of the tags. Each one is an object. It's being printed as a string here, but each one is an object. But there are these new line characters in here. Why do we have that? If we look at the HTML, those new lines are all over the place. Here's the tag we're working with, body, and then the first item in that list was a new line, and then we had the tag div, as you can see here. So we had new line and then div, and then after that div, there's another new line, and then after that, there's the OL, and then another new line. So each one of those new lines occurs whenever there's, a break between elements in our HTML, assuming they are on different lines. So content gives us that list, and if I wanted to find the first child or the first descendant of the body, what I would need to do is instead of accessing 0, I actually have to access 1 because there's that new line there. So that will give me the div. And this is silly because we know what the body is. We know what the HTML looks like. There's no reason to do this, select the body and then the first item in it. Well, maybe there would be a reason, but I can't think of one. But this is more to prepare us for a really common thing, which is you select some item that has an ID or a class, and you try and find the closest thing that has a class or an ID you can select, and then you navigate down into it, or you select the parent, you find a reference point, a starting place you can hook into, and then use things like .content to move around. Because sometimes it's harder than you would expect to select the particular things that you want, so you get close and then you navigate towards it. Anyway, so body contents now with contents 1, index of 1, gives us that div. And we could actually call .contents on that because that gives us this div. So the contents of that is this, as you can see. Let's see if that works. There, we have new line, h3, new line, paragraph, new line. So that's this right in here inside of that div. Okay, the next thing that we can do is we've seen how to access contents to descend into the elements that are nested down, but I could go from this div to this ordered list. These are siblings. Siblings meaning that they are on the same level of the hierarchy. They are not embedded in one another. They are not nested, and they're not in a parent-child relationship like body and div or body and OL. They are siblings. And conveniently, we can just call next sibling, which is an attribute. So contents 1 is going to select this div, and then the next sibling is going to be OL. And this takes care of, basically, you don't have to worry about the new lines in the contents. Next sibling will give you the next item that actually isn't empty. So next sibling, if we check it out, gives us nothing, apparently. What's happening here? Well, the next sibling of this div, remember in the contents, if I have it back up here still, where was that? Somewhere up here. Well, I lost it. It's a new line afterwards there. So we have the div and then a new line and then the OL. So it's treating this as the next sibling. So if we wanted to, we could just call dot next sibling again. And so that's going to go from here to the next sibling, which is the new line, to the next sibling, which is the OL. It's kind of clunky, but that gives us the ordered list. Okay, and the other thing we can do, I'll comment that one out. If we do something like soup dot, let's select this li, this first one that has the class of super special. So I'll select that, soup dot find, and then we can do, well, I don't like this syntax as much, the class underscore equals, but I'll do it. I already started. So soup dot find, that gives us this. And then if we call dot parent, let's save this to a variable. We'll call this one data, I guess, just to save our print statement. So that gives us the li. And now I can go backwards. So we had dot contents to go in. There's no nested HTML here. But if I call dot parent, it gives us the OL that is enclosing the li. And if I call dot parent again, we keep moving up one layer, and that gives us the entire body. Okay, so this is what we've already seen, navigating via tags, but there's also a subset of methods we can use where we can search, and they're called find parent, find next sibling, find previous sibling. So if we take an example, I'm just going to comment this one as well. Let's go with data equals soup.find, and let's go with this div that has the ID of first. So let's actually do .find and then ID equals first, like that. And to find the next sibling, we just call find next sibling. And remember what I called next sibling here, what it gave us was the new line. Let's see what happens when I call find next sibling now. You can see we just get the next element itself. We're searching for the next thing. That's the way that the method is set up instead of giving us that new line. So if I had done this soup.find.next sibling like this, that's going to give us that empty, it's just a new line. But if we use find new line, it will skip through, or find next sibling, it will skip over that one until it actually finds an object, an actual instance of an element to give us. So that's the advantage of using things like find next sibling, and we can chain them together as well. So if I did find next sibling again, first time we go from this div to this sibling, then we're here and we go to this sibling. Div data example yes that says by. And there we go. So we can chain them together to keep moving forward. There's also a find previous sibling. So if we started with the div like we did, there isn't a previous sibling. But let's say I start with this bottom div that has data example set to yes. So I could select it by, there's a bunch of ways. I could select all divs and then take the last one. Or I could use this attribute here. I think that's what I'll do. So come down here, I've already duplicated this. Let's get rid of all this. And we'll run soup. Instead of find, let's do a select and then use our CSS attribute syntax. And we just type data example. And that should give us, there we go. Well, there's actually two of them, aren't there? Ooh, I didn't think about that. All right, so then we'll check it's set to yes in both examples. No. All right, we'll just do the one with index of 1, which gives us this. All right, that was a lot of work. Now we can use find previous sibling, and that's going to go backwards. So if we're here, the previous sibling is here. And if we run it, that's exactly what we get. We get OL, and we can chain them together. If we did the next one, it'd give us this div, and so on. Another thing to mention is when we use find previous sibling, we can actually pass in a string. Let me show you. I'm going to switch up my HTML just a little bit and move it around like this. So now we have in our ordered list, there's still 3 LIs, but the 2 that have the class special are now separated. And if I select this first one using that class name, which we actually already have, I believe, let me just duplicate it here. Okay, so this is going to find the element that has the class super special, which is this. If I do find next sibling, it's going to give me this by default, and it does. This item is not special, but if I wanted to find the next sibling that has class special, I could just pass in the class with that ugly underscore equals special. And now this is saying, find me the next sibling, do a search for the next sibling that has class equal to special, which is this one. And that's what we get. Cool. Okay. And the last thing we'll see is a way to search for parent. You can just call find parent. If we selected this h3 here, very simply, we can just do data.equals soup.find h3. And then on that, call .find parent like this. And so we start here, and it's just going to find the next parent. If we do that, there we go, we get that div. So we started here, and we moved up to the parent. And we could also pass something in here optionally if we wanted to. This would be really silly to do, but right now the next parent is this. But if I pass in a tag like body or event HTML, it will find the next parent that is HTML, which is silly because there's only one HTML element on a page, so you could just do soup.findHTML. Anyway, I just wanted to show how it behaves. This is going to skip all parents until it finds an instance of HTML. So that's why they're called searches or searching methods. They allow you to navigate by searching rather than kind of in the dark, just fumbling and calling next sibling, and hoping it's not a new line character. These methods will actually search based off of what you're looking for. Okay, so that wraps up the basics of Beautiful Soup. There are some other methods and additional functionality we haven't gotten into. You can always, open up your docs and just call help on an item. Like if we just did help data, you can see we get a lot of things like, well, let's skip all these dunders for now. Keep going. Okay, so there's things like clear. So we have things like decode contents, encode, find all. So there we have, there's a find child. We didn't talk about that one. So you could search only within the children of an element. There's get. There's what else? Anyways, there's a bunch of things. So I just want to be clear, we didn't cover every possible thing. I just covered a lot of the essentials. But at the end of the day, when we're doing scraping, it often, personally, I'm always looking at the docs for whatever module or package, whatever I'm using, whether it's in Python, Beautiful Soup, or a different library in other languages. I'm always looking at the docs because there's so many little one-off things that you have to do that it's just too much to remember, honestly. This was more of just a crash course in Beautiful Soup, but we'll probably reference the docs as we go forward in the next video when we actually start scraping. So look forward to that if that sounds good. We are going to start scraping for real in the next video.